So you've probably heard it before. That's such 3D. That's such a 3D way of thinking. You may have heard people say, I don't engage or subscribe to 3D reality. Or they may say things like, they're not yet in the 5D consciousness, like they're not yet evolved. Welcome to Connected in the Den, a cozy little corner of the cosmos where we don't have to choose between depth and humor, the divine and human, the grounded and galactic. This is where we come home to ourselves, where remembering is radical and healing because witchy is wise and mystical is messy. So here in this den, we get to evolve together, one aligned roar at a time. I'm your host, Christiane, the Wandering Lioness, Leo Sun, heart-led healer, spiritual coach, and cosmic mirror. This is a space where we strip back the spiritual fluff, decolonize our healing, and get real about what it means to evolve, expand, and reconnect with our bodies, with our ancestors, our truth, and each other, whether we're talking extraterrestrial magic, sacred rage, psychic gifts, or the soft power of stillness. All are welcome here, seen here, connected here. Get comfy. This is where we gather, remember, and rise. Connected in the Den. Hey, beautiful beings. Welcome back. If you've been here before, if you're new here, welcome in. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I see really taking up space in spiritual new age spaces. A sort of harmful framework that I don't think was intended to be harmful, but it's definitely rolling out that way. And that is the framework of 3D and 5D consciousness. Now, look, I get it. Like, I've used this language myself. I do believe in the frameworks of the different dimensions, different consciousness, different vibrational states of being. The framework itself can be very helpful when used mindfully, right? And with intention. When it's not, it can be extremely divisive and very spiritually and emotionally disconnected. It sort of reestablishes colonial ways of thinking, even if the framework is meant to uplift. It can be very harmful. So let's explore this framework a little bit, and I guess things to be mindful of in others and also in ourselves, right? To hold ourselves accountable. Okay, so what exactly do we mean when we're talking about 3 and 5D consciousness? In physics, okay, in the science side of things, especially in string theory and M theory, it is said that there are up to 11 dimensions of physical reality. So in these dimensions exists energy, matter, planets, galaxies, stars, higher dimensions of being, higher higher dimensional beings, quantum and classical fields, exotic particles. Okay. And then in esoteric and spiritual traditions, it's said that there are up to 12, even beyond, different dimensions of it's consciousness, it's vibrational states of being. Within these states of consciousness exists all physical matter, humans, plants, but then in these higher dimensions exists like angelic consciousness, God source consciousness, our spirit guides, our higher self. So there's these different dimensions of existence. Now, I would say I have a blend of both science-based beliefs and spiritual esoteric traditions. Now, in New Age spirituality, 3D consciousness is said to be this sort of ego-driven state of awareness, right? It's very focused on like division, duality, good versus bad, left versus right, us versus them. So it focuses on a more survival based thinking. It focuses on materialism, on identity, on survival, linear thinking. It's form, time, and structure. Okay. Now, in 5D consciousness, this is unity, love, light, heart centered awareness. It's seeing beyond duality. It's responding instead of reacting. It's rooted in trust, in wholeness, and the deeper truth that we're all connected. So this contrast can be really helpful, right? Totally. Like it helps us to it gives us the language, right, for the shifts that we feel, that we experience as we heal, as we grow, as we expand. However, when the language is used without care, it can get very dangerous. It becomes a spiritual hierarchy. It creates this division between who's evolved and who isn't. We get these terms of like, they're asleep. These people are sheep. They haven't yet woken up. They're stuck. They're spiritually stuck. These are very harmful terms and harmful ways of thinking. It starts to shame very real and very valid human emotions like anger, like grief, like fear, like overwhelm. These are all natural emotions for the human experience, right? It bypasses the realities of trauma, of oppression, of racism, of survival. It bypasses the realities of colonialism and patriarchy that we are still actively trying to dismantle today. Okay. It ignores the fact that people are navigating systemic harm. And those people are not low vibrational. They're human beings, right? In very real circumstances. I've seen these terms used to gaslight pain and people's life experiences, to shut down conversations. And it basically avoids accountability, right? That's not growth. That's terrible behavior, especially among spiritual communities. And it's basically just spiritual bypassing, but dressed up as ascension. As a psychic medium, here's what I know to be true, right? We are spirit beings having a human experience. We are multidimensional by nature. We are humans. We are humans, but we are also spirit beings. This human self is the avatar that the soul has is inhabiting, right, for this human existence, this human experience. Spirit isn't bound by the dimensions the way the human form is. Spirit, God, source, exists within and beyond all dimensions, flowing through every single level of reality. Spirit energy is pure presence. It is infinite intelligence. Spirit is formless awareness. As spirit beings, we are not limited to one dimension of consciousness. The human is, but the spirit isn't. Do you get where I'm going here? We are multidimensional by nature. That means we already move between all states of consciousness. We are already doing that. We are already existing in all states of consciousness, in all levels, I guess you could say, of reality. Different vibrational frequencies, different vibrational states every single day. Meaning, you can feel rage. You can feel rage about injustice and still hold love in your heart. You can grieve deeply. You can feel deeply, feel pain, and still be aligned with spirit. You can advocate for change in the 3D world while still holding 5D awareness. Spirit isn't bound by dimensions. It flows through all of them. We can be in the body, we can be in a system, in the mess, and still feel the presence of spirit moving through us and still access these higher states of frequency, these higher states of reality, while still existing in the 3D consciousness. That is what we are meant to do as human beings. As the species of human beings, we are meant to move between all states of consciousness and reality. So, how does this show up in real life? We're not meant to escape three-dimensional consciousness, okay? We're not meant to ascend three-dimensional consciousness. We're meant to bring peace, love, awareness, unity into it. So this means that we can still have this access to the physical reality, this focus on money and material things. We can still pay bills, 3D consciousness, and still feel deep gratitude and connection, 5D consciousness. Okay. We can still be incredibly overwhelmed by grief and pain and anger and still know that we're being held by spirit, 5D consciousness. We can still fight for justice. Okay. For liberation, for the earth, for the future of humanity, right? 3D consciousness, while holding unity and compassion as our compass, 5D consciousness. This isn't about choosing one and rejecting the other. It is about integration. It is about embodiment. We are fluid beings. We move between states of consciousness depending on our environment, our healing journey, our nervous system, excuse me, and by our choices. I get a little I get a little gassy when I'm talking a lot. Spirit moving through me. So the goal is not to ascend or out of 3D consciousness. It's we're meant to bring in the 5D consciousness, the 5D consciousness way of thinking and beyond, love, presence, consciousness, unity into whatever dimension that we happen to find ourselves in, right? Like that is true spiritual embodiment. That is, I believe, from my experience as a psychic medium, that is our real mission. I guess you could say our life purpose, fragment of our life purpose of why we are here on earth. Maybe this is why I feel like I can very sharply see how this framework is harmful, but where it is also helpful. Because as a psychic medium, I'm existing fully in 3D consciousness. I mindfully and intentionally elevate my frequency so that I may access higher states of being, higher consciousness into different planes and dimensions so that I may meet spirit beings, energies, entities, guides, ascended masters, higher consciousness, right? I am in those sessions existing very actively between multiple dimensions, between multiple states of reality. I am able to still hold my connection with my sitter, with the person sitting in front of me, receiving a reading or receiving Reiki, or even in spiritual coaching. I am still physically in this 3D consciousness while still fragmenting my soul or spirit to access these higher states of being, to channel in higher consciousness, to meet with your loved ones, your dearly departed in spirit. So I am able to both feel and receive the, let's say we're in a reading, the pain or the grief that my clients are experiencing. Now, I will say it is a more not disconnected, but I have to maintain a sort of boundary because I am such a naturally sensitive and empathic person. I have gone through development training where I can still hold your pain, your frustration, your anger, your grief, right? With your departed loved ones while still accessing them, while still receiving this guidance. I have to very actively stay grounded within the this and the that. Does that make sense? So it's like my body, my awareness is still very much rooted in the three-dimensional consciousness, right? I am connected to your energy as the sitter. I'm receiving your questions, the guidance that you're seeking. I'm holding space for that as a human who's also going through similar experiences. But then I'm also able at the same time to access those higher states of reality, those higher dimensions, to receive the guidance and information, to connect to that loving spirit energy. And you feel it in session, right? Like, my clients feel that energy as well. It's a very visceral experience, but it is also a spiritual one at the same time. So the this and the that very much does exist, and we are capable of existing between the two. Does that make sense? I feel like I maybe over explained that or went a little deep, but let me know if that made sense as a little example. I just find with everything going on today, everything that we've been experiencing, I would say, as humans, for most of our existence, I would say obviously things have gotten very intense since 2020 and just continue to get very intense. And that's, I feel, for good reason, as challenging and messy and painful as it all is. There are extremely harmful, oppressive systems that are crumbling. And these systems have existed for centuries, when you think about it. And so that's going to take some time for it all to really crumble and for us to really dismantle all of that, right? It's going to take some work. We're going to have to move through some serious pain. But I just feel like I'm noticing a lot of this sort of divisive type of comments on social media, where people are very validly expressing their emotions and their feelings, about the genocide, that genocides that we are witnessing, apartheid happening, racism, a patriarchal kind of control, and this like erasure of our human rights and our existence. Like, it's wild. It's wild. And so I feel like, people are rightfully so feeling a lot and expressing that. And then I'm seeing, these different kind of pockets of spiritual communities and spiritual spaces that are either combating spiritual guides and teachers who are speaking out against, what's going on in the world, or people sort of trying to like gaslight and bypass people's emotions and what they're feeling, and this whole like, oh, don't get stuck in that three-dimensional thinking, like we're meant to transcend. Let's stop striving to transcend our humanity. Let's stop trying to escape 3D consciousness. Let's stop labeling people or emotions or movements as low vibrational, as involved, or 3D. Instead, let's practice being deeply human and deeply spiritual, deeply human and deeply awake at the same time. Let's hold fierce compassion for those who are navigating pain and survival, and let's support them. Let's meet our own anger and fear and confusion with gentleness, with kindness, with compassion, and not shame. Let's bring 5-dimensional qualities like love and unity and consciousness into the messy, imperfect, and very real world that we all live in. That is why we came here. You aren't less spiritual when you are angry. You're not less awakened while you are feeling grief or when you are feeling overwhelm. You're not behind on your path while you are still trying to learn how to hold it all together. You are a whole being. You are a whole being, a multidimensional, beautiful being capable of so much, a spirit in a body, a soul that came here to feel, that came here to experience all of this, not float above it all, right? But to walk with it all. Okay. You don't have to choose between being human and divine. We are both. Isn't that a beautiful gift? We are both. So let's honor both. And okay, let's love ourselves and each other right where we are. So, I wanted to kind of leave this for us to think about and digest and just become a little mindful of. And wherever we can, maybe lovingly check some people who might be using this framework in harmful ways. And it might not be intentional, right? It might be, um, a sort of unconscious way of thinking. It's easy to get swept up. I'm saying this from experience. I'm saying this from what I've observed and even clients and friends. It's very easy to get swept up in new age spirituality. We are all looking for sort of answers and clarity in things. But I feel like some people may not even be really aware of how much spirituality has been colonized itself, right? With these harmful ideals and beliefs within spirituality. So let me know how this hit you, how this landed for you, and please feel free to share your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences in the comments. If you are listening to this, streaming this, please feel free to rate and review the show so that we can connect with more beautiful beings like yourself. If it resonates, like I said, share your thoughts and your comments, like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't already, so that we can stay connected. And hopefully I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for curling up in the den with me today. Your energy, your presence, and your curiosity truly mean the world. If something in this episode stirred something in you, made you think, made you laugh, made you feel a little more connected, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. Share this podcast with a fellow wild heart, a cosmic kin, or someone who's just walking their own path of remembering. That's how we keep growing this pride, one beautiful freaking sacred soul at a time. This space is a labor of love, and your support helps it reach the people who need it most. My darling, this lioness is always rooting for your roar. Until next time, be curious, be inspired, and be blessed. See you soon on Connected in the Den.